Hey everybody, welcome to the show. This is Mike with Door and Lock Tips. We're going to use a lab decoder on a Medeco, Medeco M3 biaxial key, and you're going to get to see how to read a key and decode it. Welcome to the show, everyone. This is Mike with Door and Lock Tips. I have a great show tonight. A person that really wrote in about an explanation I had on a previous video. Let me just show that to you. Talked about Medeco biaxial key readers, and I had 8 minutes on that, and he had a great question. I mean, super question. What's the bidding on the key? How does it really work? I thought I explained it well, but I was looking at this and really I didn't explain it well at all. By use of illustrations, I'm going to show you a couple of ways to understand this key decoder. It really works great. You can figure out the pins, the depths through this decoder. So let's get right into the video. First off, this is a bidding of the key. Right here, the bottom pins, you have the master pins, you have the drivers, and then the key cut. Also the letters. By using this decoder and using a key, a Medeco key that's already cut, a biaxial key, how do you figure out what this key really is telling us? You know, the depth, forward and aft cuts. Let me explain to you what forward and aft means by this illustration. Imagine an airplane. They say forward and aft on this right here. But what does that mean? Forward and aft. Well, they're trying to explain their lines. So you got a pair for each one of the cuts. So you have 6 cuts to the key and you have a pair of lines. The first line is the 4 and the second line of the pair is the aft. Think of it this way because you need to know this when you're holding the key up to it. And it'll all make sense once I show you this. Imagine on an airplane you have the front of the plane, and that's the 4. Back of the plane, the tail, and that's the aft. So in Medeco keys, all aft key cuts, which are the angles of the cut, the second line on this key decoder, and you'll see what I mean why there's 2 lines, they're all going to be an M, a D, and an S. That's the aft cuts. And all the 4, or the front line of the pairs, is all going to be a Q, a B, or a K. Let's say you do a master key system and you want to use all Qs, you want to use maybe just all Bs, or you want to use a Q, a B, a Q, a B, a Q, and a B for all 6 cut. So you want a Q, a B, a Q, a B, a Q, and a B. You can do that. The only problem with using 4 cuts, you know, the front line of these cuts, a Q, a B, and a K, is that when you're wanting to use biaxial system here and the bi-level here, if you're going to intertwine these together, because it's highly advantageous on your part to use the bi-level on the interior of the building. Let's say there's 100 cylinders in there, 100 doors. You have maybe 10 exterior doors. Well, you want to use the biaxial because these are very expensive. And the bi-level is less expensive. You're going to use these 2 systems. You have to use, believe it or not, all aft cuts. If you don't use all aft cuts, you can't use the bi-level system. The key will not be able to work both systems, won't turn the cylinder. You have to be in the aft position to lift up bi-level cylinder pins, which are all conical. And we'll get into that. I'll show you inside this kit. And all the biaxial pins are cut on angles, chisel cut. these biaxial. Let's get into this video a little deeper. Don't forget to smash that like button. On this reader, you have fore and aft. All their keys are always cut either fore or aft. On angles, you're going to either have on the fore cuts, you're going to have a Q, a B, or a K. On all aft cuts are always going to be an S, a D, or an M. You can change these letters any way you want. I wanted all aft because I want to mix up the bi-level and the biaxial. I want them together. I used all aft cuts. So I used a number 4 S. This is closest to the bow. This side of the key, number 4, right? S. Then I used a 6D, a 4M, a 6S, a 4D, and a 2M. I could have used all S's. I could have used all D's. I could have used all M's. I wanted to use a master key system. This is one of the change keys. It's not master key. It's one of the change keys. But if I would have used any of the 4 letters, this part of the plane, the front, if I used a Q, a B, or a K in there, I could not have used the bi-level system. I just want to reiterate that because you could make a serious mistake. You build a master key system for Medeco, which is the best in the world in my opinion. Just wonderful. It's like working with jewelry. If you use Assa Abloy's Medeco system and you use a 4-letter in this whole setup, which you just put that in, right? Your master key system is not going to tell you to use an S, a D, an M, an S, D, M. You put that in yourself. And I called Medeco and I said, hey, is there any problem changing these letters around? You know, is it going to wreck the way the key works in the cylinder? And they said, no, it won't hurt anything. You can do anything you want. But if you want to later use bi-level, you got to have all aft letters. Your bidding, which is going to be 4, 6, 4, 6, 4, 2. That's my bidding. I always use a master key system. And Master Key's super simple to use. Here's how bi-level works again. You have fore and aft. So if you have the front of the plane is fore and the back of the plane is aft, and the only reason we have to know the front and the back of the plane is because of these pairs of lines. Now let's see it up close. We're going to take a look, and this will all make sense now when I put a key in this system. And I'll show you just how this works. Don't get discouraged. Don't say, oh, I don't understand this, and turn away. Don't turn away yet.
Subscribe to my channel, and I'll have more door and lock tips like this in the future. Stay tuned. Hey, guys, the machine...
Oh, that's too funny. Shooting in 60 frames a second, guys. 60 frames. Let's hope this is more clear to you guys. I have a key. So the first cut towards the bow should be a number 4. Our cuts on this key should be 4, 6, 4, 6, 4, 2. You have on this lab decoder, you have the same type of setup, a nice step setup to check the depths. So let's check the first depth on this key. Now you do have to get it on the right angle because you have fore and aft cuts. Check this out. The first depth should be 4. And is it 4? Yes, it's 4. That depth is a number 4. Right there, number 4. Now the next one should be 6. Oh, there we go. There it is. Number 6. And it is number 6. Third one is a number 4 and then a 6. So let's check this out. Number 4. Yep. 4 and then a 6 yes, a 6. The last one should be a 2. There we are. Number 2. Now we understand how the depths all work. So that's pretty much everybody understands that, right? So you have that little gauge right here. But how do we get the 4, which is the beginning line, and the aft, which is by the tail of the plane, right, the end line? How do we understand that? We lay this key on a shelf right here on this lab decoder, and the bottom of the key lays right on that shelf, and then there's a shoulder right here, and that goes against the edge right there, against the edge of the bottom of that shelf. Now here's the tricky part. Let's hope I can see this. My eyes are kind of out of focus. All right, here's where the fore and aft comes into play. We know we have 6 cuts. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's what that means on this decoder. It just means 6 cuts. And there's double lines for each cut, referencing it to the fore and the aft. You look down on the key and you see the 2 lines. The inside cut, which is right here, the inside cut on by the tip here, it's lining up, the back part of the key is lining up with this second line. You see that? It's with the second line. So that's aft. And it's on an angle like this. So that's aft. Remember, I already told you they're all aft. This next line right here is lining up with the aft. You see that line? The bottom of the cut, that channel is lining up with the aft. This line is not lining up with the fore, it's lining up with the aft. This line is fore and this is aft. This cut is lining up with the aft. And now the next one, number 2, is lining up with the aft, and number 1 is lining up with the aft. That's how we understand this. It's aft cuts. So it's got to be either an S, a D, or an M. So we already know the depths. Depths are 4, 6, 4, 6, 4, 2. Now how do we know that the closest to the shoulder is an S? Let's look at it. Closest to the shoulder, angle, guys, like this. So here's where this part of your diagram comes into play. See this angle? An S is on an angle like this, a D is on a straight cut, and an M is on the angle like this. And they all go to the tip, the point, which is the aft part of that cut. So let's look real close. Make sure you see it. The angle is like this. So that would be the S. And let's just see if that's all true. It is S. So it's a 4 and it's S. Now the next one, the second cut, which is right here. Remember, these just reference the different cuts. Nothing to do with depths. The second one, is it straight? Let's take it closer. It's a straight cut, so that would be a D. The line right here is a straight cut, and it's a D. Let's just see if that's true. It is a D, guys. So that's a D. Aft is SDM, and it means it's the second line. So it's the furthest away, the tail of the plane, the aft. And forward is the front of the plane. First part of the line, the second part of the line. I just want to make it super simple. I don't think anybody understands this. I have seen video after video after video, and none of them show anything. They don't show how this works. So now our third one. Look real close. We're on the aft part of the double cut, so we're on number 3 there. It's the third cut, and it's on an angle like this, isn't it? So it must be an M. Do you think maybe just an M? Let's just see. The third cut is an M. See that? That's an M. All right, now the fourth cut, you got to make sure you got the part of the shoulder here and the bottom of the key there. All right, now the fifth cut is a straight. See, it's straight away. So that must be a D. It has to be straight, just like that, and it's a D. Let's see, is it a D? Yes. And now the last one's an M. Let's just see if that's true. Sure enough, it's on an angle like this. It's on an M. So now basically we can write down from what we've deciphered from this beautiful lab decoder is we know the depths because of this, and we know the forward and aft because of this. Now if I take a cylinder apart, which we're not going to do in this video.
Hit the like button, guys. Subscribe to my channel. Please smash that like button. Smash it. Smash that like button. Smash it.
If we took this apart and we pulled out a pin, you could lay the pins up in this part. You could get the depth of the pin and find out what that pin is, forward and aft. Hopefully you understand this now. If I lay a top pin in here, I can see if it's a number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and a 6 top pin. And it just so happens you have the master wafers are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They really thought this thing out. So the master wafers up here you could lay in. You can lay the top driver pin in here, and you can feel it. If it's wiggly in there, then you have to go down to the next size. Here's fore and aft again. You got the fore meaning the front of the plane, and the aft meaning the back of the plane, and that only refers to these double lines, guys. Double lines, and then when you lay the key up in here, you're going to see which line that plays into. So we're all on that side of the double lines, which are aft. And I just want to make sure you got this figured out. Get my fingers out of here. This is bad. I should glue it in. Actually, wouldn't be a bad idea. That line's straight, so that's going to be a D. That line's on an angle like this. That'll be an M. We already know they're all aft because they're on the second line. And then this line, the back one there, is on an angle like this. So it would be an S. Look at the cuts on them. See, they're all on different pitches. Doesn't mean that the pitch is fore and aft. It just means that they're cut on different angles. It really doesn't mean that if the pitch is fore, or aft, that doesn't mean that. The aft is relating to the tail of the plane, and the fore relating to the front of the plane. And if you think of this as a plane, front, back, front, back, front, back, front, back. Oh, I didn't want to labor this too long, but I think you need to see that. All right, let's look in the pinning kit. See how gorgeous it is in there. All right, guys, this is the bi-axle. Chisel cuts the K, the M, the B, the D, the Q, the S. And by now, we should see that all the aft cuts are MDS. So So you have them M, D, S nicely laid out opposite of the 4 cuts, which would be K, and then the B and the Q. So it's QBK. There you go. So that's how it works. And there's a nice little pinning kit. Now this thing is a fortune. It's about $1,400 for this pinning kit, but if you want to be a Medeco dealer, you have to have all this. And here's the really great pins. Oh, don't want to mix them up. These are about $2.50 per pin. Look how cool they are. Anti-pick, some are metal. Top driver pins and masters. And you have some set screws and the springs, and then all your pins. That is the biaxial. Now here's the bi-level. They are conical. Let's get a light right down there. All conical pins. So they work in conjunction. If you use aft letters, they'll work in conjunction. One key cut on angles will work. But if you use 4 cuts, which are going to be the K, the B, and the Q, you can't use bi-level. So this key would not work with a bi-level cylinder. So here's your top pins right here. They're the same length, by the way, as your top pins here. So the 2 kits, some of it is interchangeable. Master pins, they're all the same length. The only thing that's different is the bottom pin right there, and they're all conical. Biaxial bottom pins. And if you check out my other videos, you can see we'll pull out this S, and these are all cut on angles. This is a bottom pin, an S. Take a look at a number 6 bottom pin. That's the same pin, but conical, meaning it's round in the end, like most pins. And my suggestion is don't get your pins mixed up. Let's take a look at them inside Lab Key Reader. First, I've got to show you these cylinders. This is 2 different cylinders. One is the M3 biaxial. This is the M3B, which is bi-level. Key works in both cylinders, but one sticks out further than the other. If you look real close, bi-level sticks out further than the biaxial. I've come to understand that that's why the pins in a bi-level system, which is over here, are slightly smaller. So when you stick in the key, the center is pulled forward, and that's why you have to use aft cuts for these both to work. But you see, the key will work in both cylinders. If you don't use the aft cuts, which are the letters, not the angles, but the letters. So all aft would be the AFT, back of the plane, and it holds the pin up a little bit in the bi-level. And it only holds it up a little bit because this space is out a little further. So instead of being dead center of the chamber, it's slightly out. Instead of being dead center underneath it, it's slightly this way. Slightly out. And that's why you need an aft cut. Pretty cool, huh? This stuff is high-end. Best in the world. Let's go ahead and put a pin in Key Decoder by Lab, and let's just take a look and see how it works. I've shown this in other videos, but might as well have this for a nice little roundup. Number one, top pin in here. And you see how that fits? Nice and tight. No space. So we know that's a number one top pin. There's a number one master. So this thing is really telling us the story, isn't it? So let's grab a number one. You see this? Real close. You've got a notch in it, and then you got a little tip sticking out, little finger, and then you got the chisel cut. So let's go ahead. You put that little finger, you put that down into this reader, because it has, at the very top part of it, it has a cutout for this notch. Can you see that? See where the pin goes in there, that little notch? This notch fits right in that slot. So it tells you whether it's forward or aft by being in that little slot. Then you have to put the pin cutout on the bottom, so I definitely know it's a 4. So this tells you the depth of it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And there are only 6 pins over here. Only 6 pin depths. It's a 4, and it's flush with the top. It's a number 1 4. Good to know, huh? So if I lose one of these pins not in the right spot, I can check it with this tool, this decoder. Wouldn't want to go through and try to decipher each pin. They're kind of hard to figure out. I know it looks simple, but you just want to keep your pins nice and safe so they don't get all mixed up. So that's how it works. I hope you guys have enjoyed the show. It was a little difficult making it. I like talking about Medeco. Now my fingers are a mess today, and I can't hang on to anything. Please subscribe to my channel, tell your friends, and we'll have more door and lock tips like Medeco. Oh, this is such a great product, Medeco, and a key decoder by Lab, and how to use it. Tell your friends. Thanks for the comment, really. I needed to explain this better. The bidding and fore and aft, the airplane example. Oh man, I hope you guys don't laugh at me too hard. But you know, got to have a little fun in this whole thing. Please tell your friends, subscribe to my channel, smash that like button, please smash it. Tell your friends, and we'll have more door and lock tips coming your way. Thanks again, guys. Don't forget to check out my other videos on Medeco. There's lots of them. I'm a Medeco dealer, and I love to talk about the best stuff in the world. Please smash that like button. Tell your friends. I'll have more door and lock tips like this coming your way in the future. Hooray! That's a wrap, guys. Oh man, that was tough. I hope you guys enjoyed the show. It took a lot of time and effort just to show this, and I appreciate it if you would hit that like button, tell your friends, and I'll have more door and lock tips like this Medeco beautiful, gorgeous, wonderful stuff coming your way in the future. Thanks again, guys. Smash that like button. Thank you so much. This comment right here is what inspired the video. And I think it was a great comment. I really wouldn't even have went back and went over this video without a comment like this. I hadn't shown enough detail, and so hopefully this video covers my loyal subscribers' question. I hope you guys all subscribe. Send this to your friends. Maybe this could go all over the United States. Who knows? Maybe tonight. Subscribe, tell your friends, and I'll answer all your comments and try to make videos appropriately for what comments you do have. Thank you again. I hope you smash that like button. Smash it and tell your friends. Thanks again, guys.